If it were up to me, I would say just guns, because I feel like they haven't done any good for anybody.
We are the only nation that has this all the time.
Has what?
The killings like we do.
The mass shootings?
The mass shootings.
We're not even at in the top 10 of mass shooting deaths per capita.
See, again, that's who you got me, because I don't know.
What's going on, everyone? James Klug here. Welcome back to another Let's Talk. Today, I am at the March for Our Lives in Los Angeles, California, and I brought a sign with me that says banning rifles will not work. So today, we're going to see if we can agree with people on anything. And before we get started, huge shout out to American Heart for Gold for sponsoring this video. Thank you guys so much. You ready to go?
Yes.
Let's go talk to some people.
Why would anyone need an assault weapon?
Self-defense, right to self-preservation.
To what? What are you getting defense to whom? Who's going to come get you? What are you doing?
Who's going to come? I mean, you can use it for multiple reasons.
Self-defense.
It's a modern rifle.
If you lived on a ranch or farm, I totally understand having some kind of rifle for emergencies. I do think we could put a law into place that would ban semi-automatic weapons, AR-15s. I don't know if
That's
civilians...
virtually everything, though.
Well...
Pistols?
Shotguns?
Shotguns?
Is that semi-automatic?
A lot are.
Okay.
And almost every single pistol that you see is going to be semi-auto.
So then we need better control.
But my question is, why?
A lot of at the same time. You can kill a lot of people. Why can't you just get a rifle, like a one-shot rifle?
You can do the same thing with pistols. I mean, most pistols are semi-auto.
Well, why do we need them? Why can't we just have one-shot things if you're really just protecting yourself from what? What do you protect yourself from?
You're asking a good question here. Just so I'm not debating something that's not your stance. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Are you advocating for banning all guns that aren't like bolt action? Is that correct?
I don't know that much about guns, but if you want a gun, if you want to go hunting and you have a rifle, go hunting. It's great. Have a one-shot rifle.
The Second Amendment wasn't in place for hunting. It's to resist against like tyrannical rule, protect your property, your loved ones, etc.
You think an individual having an assault weapon is a well-regulated militia? Where's the well-regulated part?
You keep using the term assault weapon. It's a semi-automatic rifle. Assault weapon is fully auto. Those are banned already.
A weapon that shoots a lot of bullets at the same time.
It's
in a row, without having to reload, right? That's what it is?
One trigger pull, one round. That's all it means.
What does a round mean?
The Second Amendment is to resist basically
But also,
tyrannical rule.
That was when we had muskets.
It's right, and those were military-grade weapons back then.
Okay, things have changed.
Your right to self-preservation and resisting government tyranny has not changed. There's been countless examples of governments implementing tyrannical rule over their nations. Look no further than Ukraine right now, resisting a government that's invading by arming their populace. Hitler's another example, but let's look more recent. Cuba, Venezuela, disarming the populace so they could go about their plan the way that they wanted to. These things do happen. And just because it hasn't happened in the United States doesn't mean it won't happen. All right, you guys, quick word from our sponsor. Yes, conservatives are always doing the gold thing, but it's for a good reason. Inflation is at its highest level in 40 years, interest rates are skyrocketing, and a recession could be right around the corner. Caught between runaway inflation and a recession, our retirement accounts are in real danger. So I looked into American Heart for Gold to secure my investments. They can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. All it takes to get started is a short phone call, and they'll have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or inside your IRA or 401k. And they make it so easy. They are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and have thousands of satisfied clients, including myself. You guys, if you call them right now, they'll give you up to $1,500 of free silver on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call them now. Call 866-845-6866. That's 866-845-6866, or text Klug to 998899. Again, that's 866-845-6866, or text Klug to 998899. Let's get back into it. That's probably where you lose the most people, that conversation, because it could happen in 50 to 100 years, but you have it now.
What's happening now is free speech. You can only think one way, you can only vote one way, you can't wear a hat. People are afraid to wear the hat of the person they vote for. I don't believe that. You should have freedom to vote for whoever you are and talk about it. So I do think
you and I would get along. We would get along.
Freedom of speech does not go one way. So I understand where you're coming from.
Right. Let's say Venezuela. Let's say Cuba.
We are the only nation.
All of these
if you
nations.
Look at everything. We are the only nation that has this all the time.
Has what?
the killings like we do.
Mass shootings?
The mass shootings.
We're not
yes.
we're not even at the in the top 10 of mass shooting deaths per capita.
See, again, that's who you got me because I don't know.
But here's the thing. I mean, the reason why I say that is not to be necessarily a gotcha. It's because we're a country of 330 million people. We do have a mental health issue. There is a problem, and we need to get to the bottom of
There
it.
is.
My question is, why fixate on the rifle?
Because that's the one everybody's using.
But that's not true. The overwhelming majority of mass shootings in the U.S. are pistols. And the biggest school shooting, yes.
All these shootings and stuff are AR-15 related.
And you're talking about school shootings, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, the largest school shooting in U.S. history was Virginia Tech, and he used 2 pistols. So my question is, what can we do that'll actually make a difference and not just score some political points by saying, I banned ARs. Okay, now they're going to use something else.
Okay, yeah, forget the ARs.
You see what I'm saying, though?
The waiting period. I think there should be a 30-day or whatever waiting period.
We can have a conversation about that. I think that's more reasonable. And I know people are going to get mad at me for saying this. I think that's more reasonable.
Don't get mad at him.
Than, what's your name?
Steve.
James.
James.
So Steve, I think that's more reasonable than just jumping straight to banning rifles. I think having conversations about better screenings for mental illness is a better conversation than just banning a gun.
Okay, and you know what? I will, if it was you and me right now today deciding and we would be writing amendment or whatever,
okay.
put that toward the back.
So the fact that this 18-year-old could get something and there was a history of mental illness, don't you think like there's got to be some kind of delay or controls with it? Because I think it's a little bit out of control.
So
but I'm not anti-Second Amendment.
Okay. No, and I won't paint you that way.
Yeah.
What do we need to do? A lot of people have proposed raising the age to buying a weapon to 21.
Okay.
I'm actually not in favor of that if we don't do multiple other things. I think the country needs to know when you're an adult and when you're not.
Right.
Right?
Well,
We're
you can't go to
living
war
longer
18.
than ever before.
Right.
Maybe we should raise the age to 21, but also raise the age of being drafted to 21.
Right, I
Raise
get
the
that.
age of voting to 21.
Right.
And a lot of people don't agree with that, which is weird because we're kind of proposing a mix and match of you're an adult, but you're not quite an adult.
Right.
I think we need to be a little bit more consistent about this.
And the frontal lobe doesn't close to 25. You make a lot of bad decisions sometimes before age 25.
But I'm not in support of just the Second Amendment eliminating your right to self-preservation
Right.
without due process, and that's exactly what that is in my opinion. I actually had multiple guns when I was 18, and guess what? They didn't turn me into a homicidal maniac. I also don't think it's the right thing to do when it comes to our Second Amendment rights.
Tell me one reason why anyone in the world needs an AR-15 except for war. Does anybody need an AR-15? Does anybody need an automatic weapon? That is explicitly to kill people. There is no other. You do not hunt deer with AR-15s or whatever automatic weapons.
Okay, so I'll unpack a couple things there really quick. And I don't want to do a gotcha, but I do have to clarify. AR-15, not a weapon of war. It's a semi-auto rifle. It's a semi-auto platform, and pretty much the most common one certainly in North America. Okay.
So what would you do with it? What are you going to do with it?
And then next point, we were talking about the hunting the deer.
Yeah.
Okay. You actually use a bigger gun oftentimes to hunt a deer because the AR-15 is kind of a pea shooter. A deer can actually get away if you shoot them with a lighter round like an AR-15. You usually go with like maybe an AR-10, 308 caliber, something like that. Okay. It's not a weapon of war. It's not a fully automatic weapon like you just said. It's semi-auto, and most guns nowadays are semi-auto, including pistols.
Well, I mean, I'm on the other extreme, so I'm probably not a great person to talk to. If it were up to me, I would say just guns, because I feel like they haven't done any good for anybody.
What about
But-
Ukrainians?
No, I mean, if guns
Should we
were...
take the guns away from the Ukrainians?
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't
They're
have
being
war,
invaded.
we wouldn't need guns.
Well, I agree with
I mean,
you there.
I'm just saying,
But I think the huge component, I think it's a complicated issue, much like the homeless. I think you have mental health.
I agree.
think things have changed since
I agree.
1800s, 1900s. So we have a plethora of guns. We have more cartels. We have, illegal gun trade. So I mean, I think it's a complicated issue. I don't think it's just gun, Second Amendment. I don't think it's just eliminating rifles. I don't think it's eliminating things. But I mean, mental health is a huge crisis.
I feel as though as a society, we're totally ignoring the mental health crisis happening in our country right now, especially around young males.
Sure.
If you look into what they have in common, they have a breakdown of the family unit. These kids are ignored.
Yeah.
They're not well. Them having a statistically higher chance nowadays of growing up in a single parent household where their dad's not in the picture, something like that, and maybe they're in an unhealthy situation like the kid at Uvalde.
Yep.
These people are showing signs.
You need one really good, strong, healthy parent.
And because that reality exists of our society in so many ways becoming more of a selfish society where dads are walking out of the mom and the child's life, women do that too, but statistically speaking, it's more dads. We agree on that?
Yes, I think so.
So, acknowledging that reality, I do think we do need to tailor our gun laws in certain ways. But I don't see a gun ban or gun confiscation as being the first of those lists at all. I think hardening schools, I think armed guards at schools, I think better screenings for mental illness is important.
Like you said, I think
What do you
I think it's a 5-prong issue. So, Hollywood High, I don't work there, but my son goes to another school. They had a metal detector. I think Uvalde should have had a different point of contact and maybe a secure system opening,
I'm in favor of hardening schools.
Yes. Hardy, do you want to?
Let's do something about it.
Teachers arm the teachers.
Make the teachers arm.
Arm the teachers because Trump started that. Arm the teachers and
Look,
stuff.
I think first of all, if we're saying
And
make
also-
them arm themselves, that's insane.
Okay.
If a teacher wants to actually have a concealed carry and they want to go through sheriff's training like they do in Florida, by the way, they go through Sentinel training, very, very rigorous tasks. You're not going to get some Joe Schmo carrying a gun on campus. You're going to end up with an individual that's very well trained. I'm okay with that because since 2000, there hasn't been a single shooting on a campus with teachers that are carrying.
I don't know about that. But
People
the
look
thing
for victims.
in Texas, but in Texas, you had 19 police officers who sat there for an
No
hour.
armed guard on campus, and they screwed up. But just because, here's the
We'll
thing:
never get to the bottom of that one.
you and I will criticize a screw up in that police department. You and I could criticize that all day. I don't defend that at all. I think what happened there, they screwed up on every level. And the question is, why are we waiting? Why is that still an issue? Why did they not have an armed guard on campus?
Right.
We can afford it. We just sent tens of billions of dollars to Ukraine. We can afford it.
That makes me mad. We have homeless here, we have people hurting, and we send billions of dollars to another country, which I am pro helping other people because America's always done that, but we have problems at home, and we need to resolve them now.
Right.
So.
When it comes to the fixation of rifles, the overwhelming majority of homicides in this country are using pistols and illegal pistols at that.
Right.
Maybe not majority, but a massive number.
Okay.
These are happening in inner city communities largely. Now, when it comes to rifles,
Right.
per year, we have a country with 330 million Americans. We have 400 homicides using a rifle in general per year. I don't think the logic of banning probably 100 million guns, or even trying to confiscate 100 million guns, I don't think that makes sense. That's a proper response to 400 homicides per year. I don't think that logic is sound. I think the logic of arming and hardening schools and better screens for mental illness, I think that argument is far more productive than this.
And that's why I think it's not really a partisan issue. I mean, you could whitewash either side. You could say we're going to ban everything, or we're just going to be like free for all. So you have to come in the middle because whatever we're doing is not working. We've had more mass shootings, 221 this year? That's just unacceptable.
And I do want to clarify on that because I know that is a stat that people are talking about.
Right.
Mass shooting is not a properly defined term, especially.
Is it 4 or more? What is the definition?
So the different groups have different definitions.
Okay.
FBI, you'll have a stat of like 4 or more. Sometimes it's a shooting in a public area. Okay.
Okay.
When it comes to these stats, a lot of people beef those numbers up by leveraging inner city communities that are going bonkers with gang violence, and then talking about this that has nothing to do with it.
People feel fearful going to public
awful.
spaces. It's awful.
It's awful.
And the answer is not more guns. 45,000 people are killed from guns every year.
You're
in
including
America.
suicide in that number, by the way.
And that's huge. A lot of suicides are because of guns.
Well, because of guns or because of people with guns. I mean,
Because of people with guns, exactly.
So we're blaming the guns for suicide rates.
Yeah,
Is our country,
of course.
does it have a higher suicide rate?
Yes.
That's not true.
No, exactly.
That's
no,
not
no.
true.
We don't have a higher suicide rate. We
Than
have more
other
people
countries.
die from guns than any other country. Any other country, except maybe, right now in Ukraine.
Okay, but I also have to correct that as well. We're not even, we might be 20th or 30th. I'll have it pop up. We're not even top 15 when it comes to gun homicides per capita for other countries, but we by far have more guns per individual, per population than anywhere else in the world. But we're not at the top. That's not true.
I don't really like this country anymore. I don't like the hatred.
Did you say why are there not armed guards at every school?
Did I?
Did you say that?
To her?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hold the thought. We'll talk about that in a second.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you disagree with that, I actually just feel like stopping people that go onto campuses.
It was too easy for him to get in, but it does create an environment of fear and
So does a mass
elementary
shooting.
school. I know.
And we have 400 million guns in the country. I mean, my point is, I think one route is more realistic than the other.
Okay.
I'm going to say this. I don't really want to talk to you. I don't have much of an argument, so I don't have much to say to you. But I do want to say this. You should probably rethink everything. Consider getting swag like I have, perhaps. And for the most part, if you want to change the world, put on a cape, fly. You know, look at Neo from the Matrix. Look at Obi-Wan Kenobi. These are people who did. They got lightsabers. What the do you have? You have a microphone. They have lightsabers. So I'm asking you on real talk, like, what is a gun gonna do? A lightsaber? Nothing. So, like, if you think about your life and you think about what you have to offer for people, please do better. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. All right, everyone, that is a wrap at the March for Our Lives. Let me know what you guys thought about those conversations in the comment section below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that bell notification button so you're notified next time I post. We'll see you guys next time.